And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Cobrin's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to The Bald Truth. Actually, the show is not live from Los Angeles tonight. It's live from my dad's crazy old person's apartment here on the Upper East Side of New York, in Manhattan. And if you're new to the program, don't know who I am or why I'm here, I am a consumer advocate for men and women suffering with hair loss. I'm the author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss. And really, this has been your safe place for the last 14 years. Well, not the new guys, but we've been on the air for about 14 years, coast to coast and worldwide, to kind of guide hair loss sufferers in a safe direction, to tell the truth about this insane $3.5 billion a year industry that, frankly, most of the products and services that are being sold in the industry just don't work. And that's the sad part of what this industry is. You know that 2/3 of you by the age of 35 will suffer with some degree of hair loss, and 40% of hair loss sufferers are women. So that basically makes this a silent epidemic of biblical proportions that affects just about every household in the world. But we still can't talk about it. And because society doesn't allow us to talk about it, this bullshit industry is allowed to take, and again, bullshit for the most part, take advantage of vulnerable hair loss sufferers. We will buy anything, try anything, subscribe anything, just for a little hope. And I have a really bad cold. I've been in the hospital caring for my father for the past, God almighty, it's been like a month, almost a month already. And, you're in a hospital every day, you're going to catch something. Luckily, it's just a cold, so I'll be fine. But if I cough on the air and, my voice sounds funny, what are you going to do? It is what it is. Want to also thank all you guys who have been writing me to thank me for continuing to do the show, even though I'm not in my studio, even though I'm in New York, even though I'm doing it through my laptop with the help of Andrew Zarian, founder of the Guys from Queens Network, GFQ and he's also syndicating this program. He's been syndicating The Bald Truth, I guess, for about, what is it now, about 2 months now, Andrew?
Yeah, about 2 months.
2 months. Getting it out there on iTunes for us, getting it at the replay, getting it out on Stitcher, iTunes Radio, Ustream, Stickam, Justin TV, and just about every online media outlet you can think of. You can now listen to and watch The Bald Truth either live or archived. And of course, you can download the podcast and whatever else you guys are doing for the Bald Truth. And I want to thank you for that. And he's been kind enough to produce the show through his studio. Just basically, I'm just Skyping him from my dad's, and I always say this crazy apartment here in New York. Andrew, what is it about? I mean, at what point do I start to fill my home with crazy furniture? Do you is it at the age of 65?
Yeah,
or does it just evolve?
Another 15 years for you.
But how does that happen? How do they not know that, some crazy oil painting is, you got to see the stuff in this house. I don't know. It just depresses me.
And it was perfectly clear when you gave it to your dad, right?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was living in this apartment, it was hooked up. This is a really nice, relatively really nice sized apartment in a luxury building in Manhattan. And he came in, and all of a sudden there's a fake fireplace on the wall.
What do you mean, glued on?
Yeah. I didn't even know what to say. Anyway, let me give out the phone number. 718-717-2200. That's 718-717-2200. We are going to be taking calls. Obviously, we're not in my studio. Andrew is handling the calls, and you guys feel free to call in It is the Hair Loss Show. And if you have any questions or concerns about your hair loss, just need to vent, this really is your safe place. I'm telling you guys, it is treacherous out there. You know, I got an interesting email. I'm not going to read it. I don't want to embarrass the guy. But he wrote me just to thank me for the program. It was really touching because he was talking about last week's show. Excuse me, when I touched upon the idea that hair loss sufferers of this generation, young guys, you know, from the ages of 18 to 30, who are just going through the initial throes of hair loss, in my view, probably going to be like the last real generation to be emotionally touched by hair loss, affected by hair loss to the point where they're anxiety-ridden, that it affects their lives to some degree. But I do believe that that age bracket will be able to get to the point where they see really effective treatments, potentially a full reversal of the process. And he wrote me just to thank me for that because it really helped him to get not only through his day, but it gave him hope for the future. And, you know, I started to realize, and I'm not going to go into the whole thing. He's a Jewish guy, and he wished my father well in Hebrew and all that stuff. And I sent this email to Andrew because Andrew is now a part of this. And, you know, what I do here is it's important work. And everyone talks about, especially the guys that don't like me in the industry, all the money Coburn makes, whatever it is. The money that I earn doing this is a byproduct of what I do. That's how I look at it. It's what I do and what we get out there and what the entire crew of The Bald Truth does. To me, those are the dividends. You know, getting emails like this, realizing that we're changing people's lives, that we're out there giving people a platform to talk about something that they can't talk about in society. To me, that's the reward. And I know that to some people that sounds like bullshit, but I always tell people, you know, they always want to know. I get a lot of emails about success. How do you become successful? They want to know. They want to pick my brains as an entrepreneur to figure out why and how and what I've done to become successful. And the truth of the matter is, I really love what I do. And also, I understood my failures, and I learned from my failures, and I had a lot more failures than successes. People have to understand that. You know, if you love what you do and you're not afraid to fail, then as you move forward, you're going to be successful. And I'm going off on a tangent here, but I was just very touched by this guy's email. And maybe if he writes me, gives me permission to read it, I will. But it was very personal, in my view, the fact that he took the time to write me the way that he did. So I just wanted to put that out there. But I know that Joe from Staten Island is probably holding on the line. So maybe we can pot Joe up. Let me know if he's
Joe
there.
is on line one.
Joe, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
Not much.
You're breaking up a little bit.
I said miserable as ever. I just wish I had 5 minutes of yesterday.
My name is.
I'll be right back.
I'm
coming.
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is. Excuse me.
I'm coming.
Would you like to may I reiterate it?
My name is. My name is. My name is.
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is. My name is. My name is.
Joe from Staten Island.
Joe, what are you talking about just 5 minutes from yesterday? What are you talking about?
There's an old expression, you know, which you wouldn't give for 5 minutes of yesterday.
You know, why don't I know that expression? I'm old. I should know that.
Well, I'm sure Andrew. The point is,
sorry, excuse me.
my past self, not to do anything about my hair loss, just cut my hair short, live my life, pursue my education, and make a lot of money, and the world will be at your doorstep. That's a sad truth.
So what you're saying is you just wish you just never did anything and just moved on with your life.
Exactly. I would have been much better off today. I probably would have been very wealthy, having anything I wanted, instead of being a miserable loser that I am today.
Dude, first of all, excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't have a way to turn off my mic here. I guess I can unplug it. First of all, you're not a loser. You may be miserable, but you're certainly not a loser. I mean, you were a New York City, cop, NYPD. I would not consider you a loser. So you did something with your life, and you achieved something with your life. Plus, you have a family. I mean, you're just a severe depressive. You're a guy that just has allowed this, in part with the help of a doctor who sadly, from what you're telling me, really, destroyed you and butchered you. And, you let this destroy your life, or you let this really affect your life. And a lot of people are like you, but I still don't think it's too late.
Well, hopefully there will be more treatments coming down the pike. First of all, I should have asked you. I did ask you off the air, but I'll ask you on the air. How's your father doing?
My father is doing remarkably better. It's going to be a long road, and I don't know if he's ever going to be back to his baseline. And his baseline wasn't really that great in the last few months, but he's starting to get his memory back. He's becoming more conversational. He seems more interested. He actually asked me about the Wall Street picketing and wanted to know what that was about. And he's definitely coming out of his stupor, so to speak.
Well, that's great. So how much longer do you expect to be in New York for?
I may be in New York for at least another couple of weeks. So we'll see. My goal is to really try to get him to the point where he's rehabbed. It's not going to happen in a rehab place. What I decided to do is I send him to a rehab. Basically, it's 1 hour of rehabilitation, and the rest of the time you're in a hospital bed, which is not good for his mind. So I'd rather bring him back to this apartment, which is depressing. He doesn't think it's depressing, but I do. And get him some rehab here, a couple hours a day. Plus, he's in his familiar surroundings, and I could work with him a little bit on, doing some exercises, and then, we'll take it from there and see what happens. But I got to tell you, I am dying to get home. You have no idea how badly I miss LA and miss my home and miss Ebed and miss my life back in Los Angeles.
Well, the first thing you should have said is you miss your wife. That's the first thing you should have said.
Well, it was the third thing that I said, and she knows. Look, I did a show on Friday night, and Andrew asked me, and by the way, I know we have some callers on the line, so please hold on. I'll take your call in a second. No, but Andrew asked me on the free for all if I had a pill that I can take that would make me live forever or whatever, 5,000 years, would I take it? And my response was, well, would I be able to, give a pill to someone that I loved, something like that. I forgot my exact response. He goes, there'd be a few pills. And I said, well, if I can give a pill to Yvette, then I would take a pill. I would take the pill. But then I kind of said, you know what? 5,000 years is a long time to be with the same woman. Something like that, Joe. Anyway, I don't have a live audience here to get to laugh. What was that?
Would you live 5,000 more years as a hair loss sufferer, or take it for granted there'd be a cure? Andrew should have told you that.
First, there would be a cure. My only concern would be, I'd have to continue to make a living for 5,000 years. Holy shit, I'd be exhausted. But, Joe, we have a call on line 2 I know that Andrew wants to take. Now, can we keep Joe on the air?
Sorry.
Yeah, we can keep him on the air.
All right, Joe, why don't you stay on the line? We'll take another call.
All right, I give my report then, okay?
Yeah, you can give your report.
Line 2's on the air.
Let's see who this is. Hey, caller, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Is Spencer?
It is Spencer.
How you doing, Spencer? My name's Tony. I'm from Philadelphia.
Tony from Philadelphia. What can I do for you, man?
I have a couple questions.
Hey, Andrew, can you pot Tony up a little bit?
Yeah, I got him up.
All right. What can I do for you, man?
I have a couple questions. One, I just kind of been introduced to this whole underground world of hair loss sufferers.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Come to mind when I listen to some of this stuff you guys are talking about, and some of these new cures like Adirans and Histogen and Follicle. Since you've been in it so long, was the buzz the same for things like Rogaine and Propecia at the time when they first came out?
Well, I actually started I don't know what that is. Hold on, guys. Andrew, is that coming from your end?
That's you.
Not me. I'm not doing anything. Maybe it was somebody that was actually watching the show. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, dude. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. The answer is online. There was a very weird news group called Alt.Baldspot, and this is before message forums and all that stuff. On that news group, it was buzzing, just like it's buzzing about these treatments now. My book was published it was sold about a week after Propecia was approved by the FDA. So when I started, both Rogaine and Propecia were both approved, by the FDA for hair loss. So the buzz wasn't quite there. But with that said, at least I had something to talk about and to promote and to say, hey, you know what? Hair loss isn't necessarily inevitable anymore. There are two FDA-approved treatments that actually do work. We were just starting to learn more about effective surgical hair restoration. So there was a lot back then. When I first started, there was a lot of it was positive because for the first time in history, you could really treat your hair loss. But now we have a whole new wave of treatments that are coming down the pike that are going to be so much more effective, and they're going to be changing so many more lives.
I guess what my fear was is that when I looked at Propecia and Rogaine, I looked at that as a way to put a full head of hair back on your head. And I guess what my fear would be is that these new treatments are going to end up being as fruitless as I view Rogaine and Propecia with stuff that's just insignificant hairs. You know what I mean? Not really what we're looking for.
No, absolutely not. I don't believe that. And first of all, for many people, Finasteride or Propecia, it's been life-changing. You may not have grown a full head of hair back or even much hair at all on the drug, but for most people, almost 90% of the people that use it, guys that use it, you can significantly slow the progression of your hair loss, even stop it indefinitely. So to me, that was a miracle, that in itself. The problem is the media latches on to things, and and you read stuff on the internet, and you really believe that, okay, wait a second, these are miracle cures. I'm going to get this stuff, I'm going to take this pill, and all of a sudden I'm going to grow a full head of hair. That hasn't been the case yet. I wish it was. But these cellular technologies, these cellular type hair transplantations, like technologies like Replicell and Histogen, for instance, or what Adirans is doing, they're completely different animals. What Folica is doing, so I would not put them in the same category.
That's relieving to hear. I'm battling between the decision process of spending, $12,000 to $15,000 on a hair transplant or sitting around for the next maybe 3, 5 to 10 years waiting for, one of these companies to come out. When I read these forums and listen, it scares me to think that, 3 years can become 5, 5 can become 10, and
Well, I mean, and listen, I appreciate when you go on the forum. Going on the forum, it's part of what we do, and I think the information on the forum could be incredibly invaluable. Whether it's our forum or there's one or two forums that I think are okay. I think most of them are a little too commercial in my view, and there's a lot of nonsense that goes on behind the scenes, which I don't want to get into. But with that said, it depends on what you're waiting for. What's your life like now? I spoke to a caller the other day. It may have been last week, and he was contemplating the same thing. And if you're putting your life on hold for these treatments, then move forward and get a hair transplant. If you're happy, if you have a good life, if you're married or have a significant other, if you're moving forward in your career, and you know what, hair loss is a pain in the ass, but it's not destroying your life, then you can wait. It really depends on your situation. What is your situation?
My situation is it is a strong event in my life. The only time I see myself as myself is when I'm wearing a hat. Although I will go out, I go out to work every day without one, but I'm just, it's severely uncomfortable without it. Like if somebody has never seen me without a hat, I don't want them to ever see me without a hat.
I understand that. And how old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay. And do you have a girlfriend or a wife?
I don't have a girlfriend or a wife now, and it has affected me. It has affected my social life, and I'm definitely, I don't socialize as much as I would. Being like, I really sometimes I just don't want to be seen. I don't want to go out wearing a hat. I don't think it's appropriate to wear a hat to events or everywhere you go. I mean, I'm not a 16-year-old boy. You know what I mean?
No, so you probably like to have a guy that you wear your ball cap. You go to like a dive bar so you can go out and socialize a little bit. And correct me if I'm wrong about this, but and that's you feel comfortable in your hat or a sports bar, but it's hard to date that way. I certainly understand that. To me, if you're 39 years old, and listen, I'm 46, so I'm significantly older than you, but you're not a kid. You're getting there. You're almost 40 years old. What are you waiting for? You got to enjoy your life. You might want to consider even at least give it a shot, a light hair system, just to see how you feel, at least walking into the world. And if that can make you feel comfortable in your own skin, and then you can wait for these treatments to come down the pike. Or you can get a relatively smaller procedure just to see if building up a new hairline would give you the confidence you need to get out there and date and enjoy your life. Because let me tell you, bro, life is short. You are wasting precious years, precious time. And I know it's easier, said than done, but you got to get yourself out there, because when you're 50 and you finally get the cure for hair loss, you're going to be like, shit, now I'm 50. Why did I wait so long to do something for myself?
Yeah. I had a hair system at 23, and I would say it's similar to wearing a hat, where like it's not you, it's not your own, and I was self-conscious about that.
Well, I think first of all, you were 23, totally, and hair systems have changed a lot. Now you might want to get something that's age appropriate, and the fact that you're 39, I'm telling you, especially if you date women your own age, and you're open about it. It would not be such a big deal. I know, I don't want to be too specific because they may be watching the program, but let me just say that I know several guys who are in their mid-30s who wear hair pieces, who have married absolutely drop-dead gorgeous women. Now, they happen to be successful in business. They happen to be successful in life because they, had the confidence, and I guess wearing hair to them gave them the confidence to move forward to some degree. And while it was a difficult decision to let these women know initially, and it was a tough conversation for them, all these guys, well, there are three of them that I know personally, they all said that the women just kind of shrugged their shoulders and were like, all right, whatever, you look great. I don't care. Now, maybe if they look like fools, the women would care. But you're 39, man. So my advice is make a decision, stop stalling, do something with your life. I know it's difficult. It's not easy. But you're 39, you want to live. You want to go out there. There's only so much internet porn you can look at. There's only, and look, not that there's anything wrong with that, but because we all love that stuff. But you know what I'm saying, dude. You need people in your life, and you want to develop relationships, and you want to enjoy what you have left on this earth. And that's my advice, I mean, go for it. Either get a transplant, or if you're concerned about getting a transplant, try a hair system again. Maybe just a partial. You don't have to do a whole hair club for men type of thing. How bald are you at this point?
I would say I'm somewhere between 4 and 5 on the Norwood scale.
Okay. Well, you don't need a big system. You can get something very light, relatively small, and it would make a significant difference in your appearance. You just have to have the balls to tell someone you're intimate with that you're wearing hair. And that's it. If you can deal with that, then you can have a great life.
I was looking at Dr. I'm down here in Philadelphia, so I'm trying to, I'll be honest with you, I appreciate your advice about the systems, and I just, I'm I'm almost, like, I would say I'm pretty much 95% sure I want to do, like, a hair transplant of some sort. And then I start to look at the doctors, and you know, I was looking at the Dr. Pistone.
I'm sorry, excuse me, go ahead.
And I saw this thing where he had, like, $3, you know, I guess they go by the grafts, $3 per graft. And it sounded like, you know, considerably cheaper than everybody else. And usually, to me, when things sound too good to be true, they usually are.
Right. Well, that must be relatively new, because I always thought Dr. Pistone actually charged by the case and not by the graft. That must be new. Maybe it's some sort of new, maybe as a new marketing person, they threw this promotion out there. But for years, Pistone never charged by the graft. He always charged by the case. So are you sure it's Pistone?
Yeah, it was like, it was on his website. It was like some kind of like hair, like something, you know, like they did with the economy. What was it? I forget what term they used. When Obama did put threw the money into the economy, they called it.
Stimulus.
Stimulus. Yeah, like hair stimulus package or something.
Exactly, hair stimulus package.
All right, listen. You have to understand that even good doctors have bad marketers. So, you know, you can't necessarily hold that against them. But I would not jump into anything just because of price. I think Dr. Pistone has had some really good work. He's shown some very good work over the years. He tends to be a little more conservative than some of the other doctors, and he also tends, in some cases, to use slightly larger grafts in the mid-anterior scalp, which for a lot of guys works great. It adds a little bit more visible density, and they're very happy with it. And then there's other guys who would prefer just to have pure follicular units. So that choice is yours. But what I would say is, at this point, I know you're desperate. Don't jump into surgery, man. Just really do your research. Have a consultation with Dr. Pistone. Have a consultation with some guys in New York. Have a consultation with some guys in Jersey. Go to the IHRS, www.ihrs.org. Those are our doctors. All these doctors, once they're accepted into the organization, I have to say this every time I mention them, pay us an annual screening fee. But I've accepted less than 60 doctors in, God, how many years have I been doing this? 12 years, something like that, since the 11 years since we founded the IHRS. And Dr. Pistone is one of them. So I do think he does good work. But I just don't know if you're, look, people, you know, the doctors don't like me to say this, but I don't know if you're really emotionally ready to go under the knife, because it seems so, like you've really put your life on hold, man, for such a long time. What happens if something went wrong? Even if you go to the best doctor in the world, how would you deal with that?
Yeah, that's the fear. You're right. I agree. That hits the nail right on the head, to be honest with you.
You know, so that's why, to me, since you're 39, and again, that's not old. You're still young. But since you're 39, trying other means, and then surgery is always going to be there, is the route that I would go, because you still seem like you're kind of like hedging. You're like, you come on asking, should I wait 10 years? Should I wait 5 years? Should I wait till these, you know, things to come to fruition? You know, once you get cut, you can't go back. You have to understand that.
For a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
With this gentleman, what's his name again? Gary?
Tony.
I forget. Tony,
would you be able to accept the density of the hair transplant and give you as opposed to the thickness of the hairpiece? I mean, would you accept that? I mean, you look at that option also.
The thing that rings in my mind from when I used to have the hair transplant is it just felt fake. You know, like when you swim in a swimming pool, you go in the shower, you get caught in the rain, somebody wants to put their hand in your hair. It's still a hairpiece, and
that's how I live my life with all the makeup in my head. Are you kidding me, man?
I
lay down on the pillow. I mean, it's like, oh my! I mean, forget about sleeping around. But I'm just joking. I'm very honest about everything, you know. So to me, it's cathartic, you know, just to tell people that I'm the Harry Houdini of the comb over. To tell people that I paint my head. I went out to Queens the other night, and I'd been in the hospital all day. I didn't feel like blow drying my hair and doing all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm going to wear a hat. Andrew, I'm going to wear a hat in your studio. All these other guys wear a hat. I'm the only one who's going to be judged for wearing a hat, but I'm wearing a baseball cap. Deal with it. And if you take me to a restaurant and they ask me to remove the hat, I'm leaving. And that's it.
Well, how dare would that's against the law to actually remove your hat in a
That's how I
restaurant.
live my life. And I think I drank. I had a couple of drinks, and I did remove my hat to show Andrew. He's like, "That's not so bad."
Didn't the bouncer at the bar ask you to take off your hat?
That's against the law. We cannot
No,
be. New York
no,
City
the
Health Code
bouncer at the
dictates
bar
that.
actually said that you're not supposed to be wearing hats in here. And I said, "But you're cool with that, right?" And he said, "Yes." This was like when I went to the bathroom. Was that it?
Yeah.
That's illegal, man.
So I was already drunk.
Hello?
Yeah, we're here. It's a whole
just
crazy
saying,
internet thing. I'm doing the show
they
from my
can't
laptop.
legally-
Andrew's producing the show. He's got like 1,000 things he's trying to handle. He's taking calls through Skype. I can't believe we're making this happen. But anyway, dude, listen, I think that you are a guy that is still on the fence, and surgery is a big decision. It really is. So my advice would be to continue to do your research, have as many consultations as possible, but consider maybe trying the new, higher-end hair systems that you can get online now that are like lace. They're very lightweight. They may not be like what you were wearing at 23. All right, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your advice.
And
well, Tony, I'll tell you what they finally, you wear the fact that Latisse by Allergan will be in a market for males within a year to 15 months. Are you aware of that?
I think he's aware of it, but he's disappointed with what he's had so far. I don't think Latisse or Allergan's product is going to do anything miraculous for Norwood 5. I really don't, Joe. So I think he's just going to have to make a decision to somehow try to get out from under that hat. And look, surgery might be the route for you, but again, you just have to be prepared for the worst. Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. You have to just be emotionally equipped to go under the knife, no matter what type of cosmetic surgery it is. You go to the best, you go to Dr. Pistone or whomever, the best of the best. If it doesn't work out, how are you going to deal with it? What is your plan B going to be? And if your plan B isn't, I could always wear a hairpiece, then, it may not be for you.
Well, he can always wear a hat like me. He said there's occasions where he can't wear a hat. I can't understand that.
Well, because he has a job, dude. He works in the real world. All right, listen, Guy, I wish you the best of luck. Keep listening. If you have any more questions, feel free to call, all right?
Yeah, I appreciate your help. Thanks a lot, Spencer. Thanks, everybody.
You got it, man. Take it easy. 718-717-2200. That's 718-717-2200. That is the, I guess every number now is toll free. No one pays for long distance anymore, right?
No.
So what are you doing? You're very preoccupied, Andrew. What's going on?
I'm not preoccupied. I'm working.
No, I know. I'm saying, well, what's going on? What are you doing right? Are you chatting with somebody? Are you like producing the show with like? Are you like doing something with Skype? I'm just curious.
I'm acting
I
as
wish I had a camera on you.
I'm acting as your personal cough button. So every time you're coughing, I'm hitting mute. I'm watching Joe's feed to see if his levels are fine.
Are you doing that for me? Thank you. I'm going to cough right now. That's great.
See?
Thanks.
No cough.
I appreciate that.
I'm making sure Joe's audio is fine. He's not yelling at Vincent in the background. And I'm managing the phone calls and the chat rooms.
Yeah.
What happened to my news report? Did you monitor that, Andrew?
Do you have a report?
Let's do Joe's report.
Okay.
The Bald Truth Report with Joe from Staten Island.
Well, I'll tell the audience, I'm sure Spencer's aware of this. Dr. Jerry Cooley has put out some things about his ISHRS presentation in Anchorage. Have you dissected that, Spencer? Have you studied it?
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Well,
now
I've analyzed it.
What did you put it out on? On the other site? On another site?
No, I've analyzed exactly what he said.
I'm saying, but where did he put it out? Don't give the name of the site, but what he put? Joe, what site did he put it out on? Don't give the full name of it.
Because of an H.
Oh.
Run by a Chinese guy.
Okay. Go ahead.
And maybe I'm not a scientist or a physician, as you know, but the impression I'm getting is stating that cloned hairs that he's been doing will not work in a bald area, and only work in an area where native hair already exists. And I've dissected it time and time again, and I can't come to any conclusion of what that means.
Well, he's actually supposed to be providing me with a presentation. I've obviously been busy, so there have been some other guys out there trying to, I guess, get some information out there to users as well. But I think we're going to have some more detailed stuff for everybody. We should have the histogen stuff in by this week, so that would be good. Look, maybe A-cell is not the miracle that we all thought it was going to be, but I definitely think that it's improving the results of surgical hair restoration. And anything that is improving a technology that is out there to help us deal with our hair loss, I think it's a plus.
Well, I understand. I understand that. And my second piece of news, well, I hate to be, redundant, but this, I've been doing more and more.
Say that again. Hate to be what?
Redundant. What's the word?
Say it again.
Repetitive.
Redundant.
The more and more, I've been obsessed with studying lattice. I'm studying numerous reports on it, and it's all says it will turn enveloped hair into a, lengthen it, and make it pigmented hair. If you take a small enveloped hair, you can lengthen it. That will have a dramatic cosmetic, effect even on the baldest cat. I'm not going to say it's true, but
it depends on how much it's going to reverse the best process. Is it going to turn into a full terminal hair? Is it going to be really a full cosmetically significant hair, or is it just going to get it to the point where it's less miniaturized?
No, we don't know that yet, but my point is it will lengthen the hair to a certain extent, and that alone will have, I think, a pretty cosmetic effect, better than anything that exists today.
I agree.
I mean, nothing. Rogaine, or Propecia,
Well, actually, when you say anything that exists today, I mean, when Propecia works, and when Propecia actually reverses the miniaturization process in some guys, like it did for me, you see a significant thickening of your hair. So what that means is, even if you're not able to actually count them, on yourself, I mean, microscopically you can with them, micro, macro photos. There's no doubt that in my case, there was filling in the crown, filling in on the sides. So Propecia definitely, and some in the front, it definitely reversed the miniaturization process. It thickened the hair shaft diameter, made them grow into full-length terminal hairs. And that process continued for many years. Now, maybe I peaked after 2 or 3 years, but, it did happen.
Well, the bottom line is, lattice, it does work at a different mechanism than a Rogaine or Propecia. It's something totally different.
Right. And Andrew, I'm going to cough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh?
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's a totally different mechanism and can't work for people who Rogaine and Propecia has no effect on.
Yes, it can. And we hope that it does.
Yes, so I didn't catch Friday's free for all. I was incapacitated. I felt
it was. I'm actually hearing some feedback now, but the mix minus is screwed up on Skype. But it was interesting. I actually went to Andrew's studio, Andrew's home, the official headquarters of the guys from Queens Network. And it was a little surreal. I got to tell you, it was a little weird sitting in that studio. I was sitting in Coco. Coco was kind enough to get up. I walked into the room. He got up and gave me his seat. I couldn't believe it. That's a gentleman.
No, I told him, Spence. I said, "You're getting up. You're not letting Spencer sit on the couch. You're going back on the couch."
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Whatever it is, he did it, and thank you for that, Andrew.
I just wanted people to see how much weight he gained back.
Oh, come on now.
I must have missed that message. If you stay off contact with me, I must have missed that message.
I didn't know. I had no idea Spencer was coming in until around 7 o'clock.
Well, first of all, Joe, you made it clear that you would never go on camera. You would not want to be in that studio. You made that clear 100 times.
Yes, I'm afraid of hair loss sufferers. I fear them. That's why.
All right, so you wouldn't have gone. So what's the point? It's not like we were hanging out in some club. We went to do the show at the studio.
Yeah.
So you already said that you didn't want to go. You didn't want to do that. And Andrew, I don't think he has the capability of pixelating you, or maybe he does. I guess he could have done editing, but he couldn't have done it live.
Why doesn't he come this Friday?
He could come this Friday. I'm considering going there on Friday, Joe. So if you want to come on Friday, you could wear like a mask or something.
Well, where did you live, in the Bayside area? You can't say that on the air.
No, I've said it. I live in Bayside, right by Bell Boulevard.
Oh, I used to work there. I used to have a foot post there. That's the
111.
111.
Yep.
Oh wow. But I do hope to see you, Spencer, before you go back to. Hopefully,
he lives where the rich people live.
Yeah, it's really not Queens.
Got a cough.
It's really not Queens, Joe. It's you know this area. It's like the island.
Yeah, borderline in Nassau County and.
Spencer, you got a call on line 3.
All right, let's take it. Hey, call, you're on the air. Hello.
Joe, my brother from another hair loss mother, how you doing? Spencer, how are you?
Hey, man, how are you? I'm a little sick, but otherwise I'm fine, man.
Yeah, you need some, I was going to say some Jack Daniels, but I think you're ahead of me there and some chicken soup. But you and Andrew both sound like you're a little under the weather.
Yeah, we were both sick on Friday, and then he dragged me out with with Jess's friends who were just like, it was like watching paint dry until they left.
How annoyed was I, Spence?
Well, I have to tell you, like, I'm a very, I try to be engaging and talk to people, and they just looked miserable. And the girl on, not across from you, she was kind of cute and sweet. The girl next to her, she had like this weird staring thing, and it was not flirtatious. It was almost like she stared through you. I can't explain it.
It was all the alleged drug she was probably on.
It was weird, man. I got to tell you, I felt very uncomfortable just, with that side of the room.
Yeah. So I hear that Andrew's a cougar magnet.
Oh, my God. There was some, like, old, like, pockmarked broad that was, like, so into him, man. It was unbelievable. Actually, I have to tell you, by that, we already had our shot. I had 3 martinis and a shot. It was almost like hearsay at this point. Like, I kind of knew it was happening. I was kind of there. But I don't know the whole story. I know that some old woman said that Andrew was hot to Jess.
And then he started fight, and then she got into a fight with Jess.
Yeah, and then there was almost fisticuffs, and then next thing I know, I'm going to cab back to Manhattan. That's all I remember. No, they dropped me off at this place to get a cab, and it was actually I had a nice time. I really did. I mean, it was just nice. It was nice doing the show. It was nice hanging out with Coco. It was nice hanging out with Jess, of course, and Andrew. I met Andrew's father, who seems like a really nice guy. And but the whole thing's really weird, like with your brothers and your dad, and you do the show out of the. I mean, and he's got this whole operation out of like his living room.
Yeah, it's right across from my living room.
Right. It's amazing what you've accomplished, dude.
The multi-million-dollar business GFQ runs out of a living room.
Right, your dad's walking around like Mickey Mouse slippers, I don't know what he was wearing, but I mean, like he's like going into the fridge, getting like a piece of cheese and feeding the cat, and you're on the air.
I'm on the air with thousands of people watching my father's feeding the cat's cheese.
Yeah.
Was there a piece of Yom Kippur Friday?
Yes, I chose to work on Yom Kippur. I say this on the air. We suffered enough. Jews have suffered enough for the last 40,000 years. I don't need to fast for 25 hours. I suffered enough. My dad's in the hospital. To me, I'm going to live every day the best that I can and really try to enjoy myself. That's why I tell all you guys out there, this guy, 39-year-old guy, is putting his life on hold because of his hair loss. I get it. But eventually you're not going to have that time.
Well, especially just the alcohol. What's your cold, man?
No. I don't drink. Are you kidding? I quit drinking. I told Andrew I quit.
Yeah, he's done. I quit too, by the way.
Until next week.
No, I'm not. I'm not drinking either.
Johnny, you a big drinker, man?
What? No, not really, Joe. I have an occasional beer now and then, but no, I'm not one to. My days of pounding alcohol are behind.
How do you survive this suffering of hair loss every day, the torture? How do you survive, man? What's your release?
Joe, I can't handle the hangovers anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought Johnny was going to say porn. That's his release.
Pardon me?
I thought you were going to say porn when he asked you what your release was. But yeah, hangovers, dude. It's just not worth it. It really isn't worth it. And you know what made me feel bad on Friday is I'm hanging out with these guys, and listen, they're young kids, so it's okay if they're drinking. But then we go to this bar that they like Andrew's like the king of the neighborhood.
Everybody knows me, right?
Everyone knows he's like a celebrity in Bayside.
Everybody knows what I do. Everybody wants to cut a business deal with me.
Yeah, everyone's trying to talk to Andrew. So we go there, and it's like Andrew has family, and Jess has family like all over the Bayside, and they're at this bar, like a local pub, and they're like people in their 50s, late 40s, early 50s, getting loaded in this local bar. And I already had 3 very weak martinis, by the way, but good, in like some Thai restaurant. And so I said, let's do a shot. So we did a shot. But I'm just watching these guys, partying at their age like they were 25. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to be that guy.
Spence, there were a few of those people in there. The bar that we went to is not one of the most happening places there, but it's like
right.
If you're 40 and above and you're from the neighborhood, that's where you go.
Right.
If you're not, it's like the 40 to 50-year-olds that don't go to the old Irish place. That's
right.
where everybody goes.
And I guess Jess and Andrew had like a little meeting beforehand and said, you know what, maybe we should take Spence where he feels comfortable.
No, I had no idea.
So they took me to the old guy bar.
I was going to take you to Press, but we went there next. We went next door. It was too much of a walk.
Yeah. So no,
Joe said you wore your hat.
I was just like, what, Johnny?
Joe said, or you mentioned something about wearing your hat.
Yeah. So I was in the hospital all day. So I had my baseball cap on, and Andrew's like, listen, you're going to come do the show. I'm like, I don't know. I won't be able to get home to do my hair. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Everyone else gets to wear a hat on your show. Chauncey wears a hat all the time. Coco wears a hat all the time. Lon wears a hat all the time. I'm going to wear a hat without being judged. So I went in. I wore a baseball cap, and it was fine. It's just difficult going out with a hat on because I'm always thinking. I joked around. I pulled off my hat, for Andrew, but I can't sit in a restaurant with hat head for like a whole meal.
By the way, the best part of the night, Spence, is when you told the owner of the Thai restaurant to go get you another drink. That was the best part. He was so insulted, the guy. He's like, listen, this place is amazing. I love it. By the way, can you get me another one of these?
It's his place. Why should he be insulted?
I told him you came all the way from California.
Oh, sorry.
Just to eat there. Yeah. He's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah.
He put a special lychee in my cocktail.
You must have got on
He
very
probably
late.
wants Andrew to give him a free plug.
He gets a plug all the time. I'll give him a plug. Erewhon's Thai restaurant, one of the best Thai in the neighborhood.
So that's funny. I didn't even realize it was the owner.
Yeah, Paul, that's the owner. He. Okay. Can I tell you a funny story?
How did it go down? Tell me exactly how it went down.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story too about it. But he came over to introduce himself and say hi because he always comes over and he always buys us around the drinks. And he was about to buy us around the drinks, but you turned around and you're like, hey, listen, by the way, can you give me another one of these? And he didn't buy us a round of drinks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He gives us an appetizer and a round of drinks all the time, and he didn't do it. So you probably pissed him off.
Wow.
So when we were leaving, Jess goes, "Oh, thank you so much. This guy, he's a big shot radio guy in California. He runs the hair loss industry. He's gonna say that you guys were the best Thai restaurant that he's had And he was so happy. The guy's like, oh, my God, if I knew, I would have sent a sample over. Whole thing.
Well, I will tell you, what's the name of the place?
Erewhon's Thai restaurant.
Erewhon?
Erewhon.
Erewhon's Thai restaurant. That's actually it was a really good place. The appetizers were delicious. And the owner serves up a really good drink.
By the way, that guy is like one of Jessica's restaurant friends because she was in hospitality management for a while, so she knows all these restaurants. Right. And I went there once with one of my friends, the girl who does the Skinny Pig blog for us. Right. This guy was grilling me the entire time, and he actually came up to me and said, "Who are you with? Where is your wife?"
Wow.
So that's how this is that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea. To me, he was just some Asian dude who was talking to us at the restaurant. And I assumed that if he's sitting there talking to us, that whether he's a maitre d', whether he's the owner, whether he's a waiter, he wouldn't mind getting me a drink.
It's not the worst thing that happened. Jessica called the female waitress sir right before we got there.
Yeah, and then she said she had an unfortunate haircut. so
we partied, Spence. I mean, we did well.
Yeah, I know. We always do.
Yeah, we
always do. But it was fun, and it was nothing majorly embarrassing happened. No fights. I wasn't kicked out of any bars or anything. And then you got me to the cab safely, and that was it.
I did put on a fashion show for you earlier.
Well, that was interesting. I just want to say that the initial jacket that you put on, not that it was bad, because it's not. I just wasn't for the evening. Okay. You kind of had like a George Michael distressed leather jacket that was really hip in like 1984.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it was going to work for the evening. So you asked me how I felt about it, and I told you the truth. But, in retrospect, it's a nice jacket. So now I feel bad like you're never going to wear that jacket.
I've never worn it.
Ever?
No, I bought it about 3 years ago from Century 21, and I paid $300. The original price was like $1,000. And I thought I got a great deal, and I never wore it.
And why? Because Jess tells you don't wear it?
Because she says that thing looks awful.
Well, what about me? She makes fun of your sweater jacket.
No, that thing is great. Nobody could talk bad about that.
And then she made fun of your racing jacket, which you wore.
She did, yeah.
She's like, where's that? She's like, why didn't you wear the ridiculous racing jacket or whatever she called it? And you're like, I'm wearing it.
She's just an asshole, Spence. We figured this out already.
Well, she's not really an asshole. She showed a little bit of it because I said something about looking like an old baseball player, and she's like, well, the hat doesn't help. So.
Oh, man.
It kind of came out a little bit. So, anyway, you guys, I think we're going to have to take a break, guys.
Spence, what time did you get home Friday night, man?
I don't know. Not late. 1 something.
Do you remember the cab ride home?
I do, sure.
How was the cab ride? How was it?
It was nice. It was cool. I spoke to the cab driver the whole time, and I was going to put it on my credit card. He said, but look, if you can give me cash, I can give you a break. So I said, all right, take me to the ATM. Took me to the ATM, and he gave me a really good deal.
Oh, that's really good.
And, I was not at the point at all where I couldn't remember shit. I mean, I knew I was going. I got an early buzz because I had no food in my stomach before we ordered appetizers. So they ordered me a martini. I had the martini. I was already kind of buzzed. And then I started to eat a little bit. So then I kind of, sobered up a little bit. And so that's why I had to continue to drink. And then we got to the bar. And once I have that amount of alcohol in me, I'm like, let's do a shot. And I guess Jess saw it happening. So she kind of, after one shot, she shuttled us out of there and got into a cab. And that was it. Good for her, though. That was a smart move.
Yeah. Well, the Joanna look-alike. I mean, how much does she look like Joanna, the older broad?
She looked like
just like her. Just like her. I mean, Joanna looks a lot better, but at a glance, I really thought it was Joe with like hair extensions. And I'm like, what the hell is she up to?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to kind of like, as a sociology experiment, I'm going to go back there completely sober and kind of just sit back and take notes to see what the place is like.
Well, next week we're going to take you to press. We're going to go to press next Friday.
All right. Well, I'll make sure that I wash my hair for that one. Listen, we're going to take a break. Guys, it is the Hair Loss Show. Phone number 718-717-2200. That's 718-717-2200. Live from my father's crazy apartment here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. pipe through the GFQ. I'm like Chauncey now. The guys from Queens Network, GFQ Live.tv. We'll be right back after these messages.
In one of your interviews with John Candy, I believe, it looked like an older interview, you had less hair than you have today. How do you explain that?
I don't wear a wig, sir.
Paint your bald spot?
What bald spot?
You paint your bald spot?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. My hair grows.
You paint your bald spot?
I don't have a bald spot.
How come you had less hair on the tape?
Maybe my hair grew. Maybe I had a bad haircut that day. By the way, something. What do you care?
Paint your bald spot?
I don't. Do you paint your bald spot?
Paint your bald spot?
Sick.
Hey guys, welcome back. Usually I hear some music. I'm sorry, dude. I'm kind of like thrown off by the whole thing because I'm not producing it myself. You are listening and watching The Bald Truth, self-help radio for guys, and of course for girls who get it. Still doing the show out of my dad's wacky apartment here on the Upper East Side of New York, Skyping directly to the guys from Queens Network. And Andrew Zarian has been kind enough to send out my feed and this feed through The Bald Truth, through GFQLive.tv. It's being heard live on iTunes Radio and Stitcher Radio and Ustream and Justin TV and all over the internet. Thank you so much to Andrew Zarian for helping out The Bald Truth as usual. Phone number 718-717-2200. That's 718-717-2200. That's Andrew's line, and he is taking care of all the phone calls and producing the entire program tonight. If you are new to the show, don't know who I am or why I'm here, if you're just tuning in for the second hour, I'm a consumer advocate for men and women suffering with hair loss. I'm the author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss, and I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association. What does that mean? I'm the guy that tells the truth about this insane, repugnant, repulsive, disgusting $3.5 billion a year hair loss industry. You know that with all that money being spent, 99% of products being sold that claim to stop, prevent, or treat hair loss just don't work. Can't help you. Complete bullshit. That's what this place is for. We're a on-air and online support group for men and women who are dealing with hair loss, and we're here to guide you in the safest possible direction when it comes to anything and everything hair loss. If you know who I am, and you can probably hear that I have a horrible cold, so if I start to cough and sniffle, it is what it is. I apologize. But we are here to get information out to the hair loss public, help to guide you safely through this industry, like I just said, and really help to save you a lot of heartache. You know, this is a place to vent. This is a place to learn and to share from other hair loss sufferers. And the bottom line is, no matter what you think at this point, especially if you're in the initial throes of hair loss, there is life after hair loss. There is. Is it going to be the same? No. You're going to be changed, forever changed. Excuse me.
Spence, caller on line 4.
Okay. All right, let's take the call, then we'll get back to Joe. Hey, who's this? You're on the air. Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Hey, George, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, I got to turn down the computer in the background because I finally got you up on the stream here, so I don't want that echo going. You look none the worse for wear. You look actually good for someone who's suffering with a cold. You don't look like your eyes are swollen. You look really good, actually. And I think I heard Mr. Zarian greeting me. Hello, Andrew. How are you, sir?
Hey, George. How you doing?
I'm hanging out, man.
I appreciate
hanging
that,
out.
man.
There's a huge
it's just
music
good genes.
festival going on in my city, which I am not attending. You know, we got everybody from Duran Duran to country groups to rap and all that stuff that invaded the downtown of Mobile, Alabama, and turned the whole place into a downtown fall music festival, which happens once a year. But I'm like you, Spence. I've reached the age where these big crowds just don't. It's not attracted to this big crowd deal anymore. It's just. I like concerts, but not big crowd things.
And I don't think there's enough hand sanitizer in the world for me to go back into these big crowds.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, and that's how you end up getting these colds like you have, is by getting in the midst of crowds like that. Cold is the least of your worries. I just don't want someone with meningitis or something like that. I want to encounter this human petri dish, but I just got on the program,
first of all,
thank
you so much for making me think about that, since I spend like 12 hours a day in a hospital now.
Yeah, and those places are incredibly dangerous, despite their infection control procedures. You know how hospitals are rampant with MRSA and all these other terrible things that are going through hospitals, and the bugs are usually highly resistant to medications because they're throwing all these meds.
Oh my God,
the ones that are there particularly bad.
Worry about
this.
this.
I hear Andrew freaking out.
I am in the hospital 12 hours a day with my father. I am helping him. I mean, I don't even want to get into the specifics of what I have to do. I don't think I've ever seen another man's penis as often as I've seen my father's at this point. Let's put it that way.
I feel for you because like 2-3 years ago, my dad, who had been suffering from benign prostatic hypertrophy for a while, because he would never clean up his diet and get on an anti-inflammatory diet and wouldn't lose weight and all that. And of course, these inflammatory conditions, one of the things that causes is BPH. And I kept telling him to, what to do, and he wouldn't listen. And so eventually he kept having these prostate flare-ups, not infections, but he had a couple of infections, mostly just the swelling. And, and then he screwed up one day and drank a soft drink, which I've warned him not to do. And, of course, carbonated drinks will irritate that, and he plugged up and had to be catheterized. So the doc said, okay, time for laser surgery. So I had to take him in for the laser surgery, and they'll lead you to believe that that the new laser procedures for prostate enlargement for BPH are so much more benign than the old TURP, the transurethral prostatectomies that they did with little roto-rooter blades. But still, there's still pain and bleeding and all that. And I remember him just being in there and trying to get out of the bed, and peeing blood clots on the floor, and me trying to scramble around and clean this stuff so he wouldn't slip in it. And seeing his penis over and over. Not that really bothered me that much. It's just the whole hospital thing kind of freaks me out.
Well, you know what bothers me? I know what my penis is going to turn into. That's what bothers me. That's what's fucking me up right now.
I hate to tread on the side of maybe pissing you off, but I had some stuff going on earlier in the evening. My great aunt, who's a retired nurse anesthetist, her son, who's my age, who just got a PhD in psychology, called me to tell me that my aunt, who was raised like my dad's sister, her little dog ran out in the street and got run over. And she was all freaked out.
Wow.
So I'm trying to call. Yeah, and she's in her late 70s, pushing 80. The dog's her whole life, and the dog just got squashed today. So I've been trying to call her to comfort her. I've been dealing with that and other things. And I missed the first hour of the program. Did I miss anything big? I know Joe's going to be really pissed that I missed his update. But there was like no big breakthroughs I missed or anything like that.
No, absolutely not. Right, Joe?
No, the question is, we still have the answer. What the history present, what Dr. Cooley present, we don't have any of these answers from Anchorage. It's like a big secret. I
couldn't understand anything Joe's saying for some reason or another. What did he say?
I never understand. I'm sorry,
Joe. I couldn't catch what you're saying.
But stuff went on in Anchorage, which Dr. Raspin, when for some reason, is holding back. We don't have any answers to what actually happened in Anchorage.
Joe, listen, I've been busy, dealing with a lot of stuff. I told you guys I'm going to have information for you. I'm going to have some good details, some interesting presentations that are going to be made basically exclusively for the Bald Truth. And, we'll get it out there to you guys. But there's no rush, because I can tell you that none of this is coming out next week.
Okay,
So,
cool. Well, I
you guys,
apologize for
you guys,
apologize
you guys
for
are gonna
dragging
get,
things
you guys are gonna
backwards,
get the
man.
information. You guys are gonna get it directly from the horse's mouth. All right.
Spence, we got
You see why I'm angry. You see why I'm angry.
Spence. We also have Johnny Ohio on line 3.
All right, Johnny. So you're there, man. What's going on? Want to say hi to George?
Hey, George, how you doing?
Good to hear your voice, Johnny. How are things in the up in the great state of Ohio? You hitting the cold weather yet, man?
We've had a little bit of rainy weather, but it hasn't. Actually, this week it's actually been pretty nice. So
It kind of blew my
Can't
mind to look
complain.
out. Where was it in Colorado or someplace? Like last week it was summer, and then this week there's friggin' snow coming down like a blizzard.
Dude, it was 80 degrees in New York today.
Wow. 80
probably
degrees. Is
75,
it? How's the humidity? Is it low?
It was a beautiful day
that's
today
usually
in New York.
great.
I mean, I missed most of it, but walking back from the hospital and walking to the hospital was a glorious time. And you know what's funny? I really appreciate those little moments now. When I see, like, my dad's 88. He's old as shit. I mean, he's been around since 1923. So when you see a guy like that in the hospital, it's kind of like, okay, he's in the hospital. But when you see, his first roommate was like 47, 48-year-old guy with MS who just, had to be like rolled over, and he had some crazy bed sore that ended up getting infected to the bone. That's why he was in the hospital. And you see guys like this who are living their lives in hospitals. And just, there was one guy that was on the phone with, this is actually, it's kind of a funny story. I'm in the solarium. I took my dad in the solarium to get some sun and, get some light on him. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. And there's a guy on his cell phone saying, hey, listen, I'm sorry I had to break our date. I didn't tell you this before, but about 3 months ago I had a heart attack, and they think I had another one. So I'm not going to be able to make our date tonight. And basically leaving a voicemail. And this guy was he must have been 35, 36 years old.
Wow.
He probably met this chick on Match.com. Of course, in his profile it didn't say have heart disease. And he's back in the hospital with a heart attack, having to call his date and cancel his date. Which is amazing. But I guess my point is, we are so lucky. I deal with the crazy comb over and having to wear a hat if I'm uncomfortable, whatever it is. I'm able to walk around. I have relatively good health. There's so much that I can enjoy in life. And, I don't know. I try to tell you this, George, all the time. Stop putting your life on hold for this hair loss, man. Stop it.
We had no choice, Spencer. We had no choice.
No, Spencer, I'm actually taking to heart what you've been telling me, and I'm moving forward in all areas of my life full steam. I mean, I'm really, really pressing hard on a lot of stuff, personal stuff, business stuff, health stuff, medical, legal, you name it. And I just have to I had a really weird-ass thing happen this past week, and I realize now that the veracity, the power of what you have said to me about moving forward. I had to go to a neurosurgeon's office this past week, a major university medical school. The chief of neurosurgery, I had an appointment with him for for some stuff related to an injury I had, central nervous system, back, nerves coming off the spinal cord stuff. And I remember walking in there and filling out the paperwork, and I remember thinking, damn, here I am, 6 months away from 50 years old, and I'm all, my back's fucked up and my neck's fucked up, and I got this going on, that going on. And I remember, feeling a little frustrated, if not sorry for myself. And then I looked, I looked down, I was filling out the paperwork, and this little country girl who was the clerk who's, putting the records in the computer, she looks at me and she says, I have to take your picture. And I said, well, what the hell for? And she said, well, we're doing digital electronic records now, so, I have to take your picture. So they she enters the data, name, rank, serial number, takes your picture, and they stick it there in the digital record. So I jokingly say to her, hey, what the hell is this, George Orwell's 1984? Well, she looked at me like the cow in the headlights look, She had no idea what I was talking about. And so I started kind of teasing with her a little bit and joking with the office manager who was around my age and had a common frame of reference. So I got ready, Spencer, to go, for my appointment. And this little girl who was probably in her early 20s, had a little kid, several years old, she looks up at me with this puzzled look on her face. And she keeps staring at me like she's trying to figure something out. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then she looks at me, she says, I have to ask you a personal question. And I looked at her and I thought, what the hell is this going to be? And she says, are you really 49 years old? And I looked at her and I started, my first impulse was to say something smart ass and sarcastic, like, no, actually I'm 65. That's like lying and telling people I'm older than I am just for, for the hell of it. But instead I just looked at her and smiled and said,
I've been doing that with you guys for years. But go ahead.
Huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
But the thing is, I thought about what you said. When she said that to me, I thought, this chick told me she thought I was in my late 20s. And I thought, Spencer's right. What the fuck am I all hung up over this hair bullshit for? I can dummy it up enough to where I still look young, so why am I letting it bother me? Why do I feel like a fraud? Do you see my question? I mean, it's hard to get over this feeling like you're a fraud.
So did you ask her out?
Dude, I was not interested in this country girl I'm not interested in this country girl with a 3 or 4 year old rugrat, and I'm not into that. This girl
hey,
had,
George,
this girl and I about,
bitch, man.
I had about as much in common as, well, you know what I'm trying to say. And me, after I tried to explain to her what 1984 was, and then her boss tried to explain to her about Animal Farm, and she didn't know about that. And then I mentioned the Clockwork Orange, and she didn't know what that was either. So I finally gave up.
She's the perfect girl to break back into the game with, man.
Oh, dude, no. But she just had this look on her face, this puzzled look, when, like, she couldn't fucking believe I was 49, like I was telling her some bullshit story. And I thought, Spencer's right. Why am I letting this shit bother me?
You can't.
Spencer, it was an epiphany for George.
What was that?
It was. It was
an
huge
epiphany for George. I think he's trying to tell you, George, you need to go to Vegas, go to the bar, get a good single malt bourbon, get a hooker and a cheeseburger.
That's right.
Johnny, you talk crazy.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order.
What was that, George?
I didn't say anything. Spencer did.
No, Joe
look,
did.
I listen. The fact that you still have a youthful appearance, the fact, it's a godsend because you're getting more chances to continue to get laid and have a life. Listen, I choose not to dye my hair. I choose to keep my goatee gray. I don't want to look like a magician. Like I think Andrew's going to be one of those guys when he's my age that's going to look like a magician, like one of those crazy magicians with a dyed beard.
I look like one now.
No, but you could see that it's natural. But because you're not going to go gray. He told me the other day, he goes, Spence, your hair looks good, but it is getting really gray. Because in his mind, there's no way that he would be able to let his hair go gray.
No, I'll have the salt and pepper look. No, that's not true.
You gotta let go, dude. You gotta let go and work with what you got. I feel very fortunate.
Andrew would look incredibly handsome with that salt and pepper hair. It would add this distinguishment to his roguish look.
My roguish. I do have a couple grays now, and it's more and more. So the grays are starting to come in. In my beard, I have a couple grays.
Yeah, well, I mean that's one thing you cannot
dye. As your business
grows,
Andrew, as your business grows, you're going to get even more gray hair.
I want as many grays as Spencer does.
What I notice about my goatee is like it looks like on camera it's just like almost like a dark line because the two sides are white. But in person I really like the way the gray hair looks on my chin. I think it's a really cool look. But a lot of guys can't deal with it because they just equate that with age. And somehow, if you're older, you're not going to be able to get young chicks. Listen, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but for whatever reason, I'm out. I'm about. I see how women react. If I talk to them, whatever it is. I don't believe that if I was single that I would have that much trouble getting a girl, say, 28, 30 years old. And even if they didn't even know what I did. I really don't. I think it's really just a matter of how you feel about yourself and how you present yourself to people. And that's it. And that's why I hang out with guys like Andrew. I like hanging out with
As long as you pull up in the
guys.
Land Rover, you're fine.
Say that again? What was that?
It's a Range Rover,
As long as
Johnny.
you pull up in the Land Rover, the Range Rover, you're fine. You always said, Spencer, it's not your hair, it's how much you got in the wallet.
That's true. It's not. It's as long as you have a big wallet. No, but it's also about being, I guess, an alpha male, but not in an asshole way. And and people kind of sense that. Like I always say this. To school, whatever it is, I was always okay looking, not bad. Women like me and stuff like that. But I was never like the model. I was never like the number one guy. But in a room with the top 10 looking guys and the top 10 looking women, I would normally get the hottest girl. Why is that? Because they like to talk to me. And that's all it is. It's all about how you feel about yourself and how you communicate with people. And I got to tell you,
Why?
people, what is that?
Why? Why do I want to talk to you?
Confidence.
Well, it's not even. It's just in life. What I think is important for people to understand in every aspect of life, and business included. People like to feel good when they're around you. So if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. You're better off walking away than making somebody feel bad about themselves.
That's why no one wants to be around me.
That's probably true. Andrew should tell that to Jess.
Tell her what? That's why nobody wants to be around her?
I'm choking to death. That was so funny. No, you keep saying what an asshole she is.
She is. I tell her all the time.
I never really see her. I mean, I see her busting Chauncey's balls, but I kind of think that's kind of endearing.
No, she's a ball buster. That's what she is.
She's all right. I like her. And she smells good.
She does. She does smell good.
She's really got herself together. She's a nice woman. I think you give her a hard time.
She gives me a hard time.
What do you think she's going to be like when she's 40?
A lot of plastic surgery. I'm hoping.
You're hoping.
Oh man! I said that to my wife.
Hardcore, man.
I told her. I'm like, listen, you're getting those wrinkles around your eyes from the tanning. Maybe you should go and see a doctor.
You told your wife, well, she's 25 years old. You told her that?
Yeah, well, she tells me all the time too.
How often does she tan?
Yeah, I'll give you credit.
You're sounding like down in Brazil when these fucking girls in Brazil start getting plastic surgery when they're fucking 18 years old and stuff like that. I mean, that nation down there, the country is obsessed with plastic.
Well, apparently,
surgery.
every girl that was at that table that we met had something done. I mean, the girl in the corner, she looked like she was walking around with a pair of torpedoes attached to her chest.
Oh my! Well, yeah. Well, that one has had she's had like a chin implant and like a nose job and a boob job. She's had everything done. But Jess has had work done.
I know. But Jess's is very subtle. It's basically under her clothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like you're really seeing stuff. I just think face work, unless you're really screwed up, that's a scary thing. I see stuff happening around my eyes. Look, I'm 46 years old. Look, your uncle or whoever, I guess I was wearing a hat, so I look, you don't really see the gray hair. But, he was drunk and thought I was in my 30s. He was really drunk and thought I was in my 30s.
Yeah, everybody was at that bar. Jesus Christ. That place was awful.
Crazy.
Hey, are you guys all going to connect before you leave New York, Spencer? Are you and Andrew and Joe going to get together for dinner or a drink or something?
Joe, we just invited Joe over to Andrew's house for Friday's show. I'm probably going to be able to make it again. I hope. So, but he refuses to go on the air.
Put a bag on.
I can't really say that I blame him. I mean, I wish I were there, but I don't think I want. I enjoy my anonymity, so I can talk about whatever I wish to discuss.
No, but you can wear something. Wear
getting
like a
fussy.
mask.
Huh?
Get like a Obama mask.
No, dude.
That'd be cool.
That's the last mask in the world I ever wear. But I might wear a Ron Paul mask.
Okay.
How about a Sarah Palin mask?
No, no neocons, just Ron Paul.
How about a Richard Nixon mask?
Will you be going to the hospital again tomorrow, Spencer?
Every day, man. I'm there all day.
What time will you be there?
How's your dad doing, Spencer?
I'm not telling you. You're going to show up and scare the hell out of my dad.
How would I show if I don't even know where the hospital is?
No, I'll be there. I'll be there like at 9 o'clock.
Like 9 o'clock at night.
I get there before his breakfast.
Wow.
How's your dad doing, Spencer?
I would never shoot the privacy, Spencer.
I know that. I know that, Joe. My dad is doing better, significantly better as far as like the major stuff that was happening. But now we're just dealing with the psychological issues that he has, and shit like that.
Is he cognitively? Is he functioning okay? Is he like in the here and now? Or is he?
Yeah, he's back. The dementia that we thought was so far progressed wasn't that progressed. It was everything else that was happening to his body that was causing him to have a lot of these cognitive issues.
Was it something? Was his blood sugar roller coaster? Or did he have some ischemia going on in his brain, or what the hell?
He had extremely low sodium levels due to significant water retention caused by pulmonary hypertension.
Well, if you've got the electrolytes are out of balance, the blood sugar's out of balance, it'll make you look like you're crazy.
And you've seen me on the air like that, I think, a couple of times over the years. So that's a joke, guys. That's when you guys laugh.
How can we discuss Steve Jobs' death, that terrible hair loss sufferer?
How what?
We didn't discuss Steve Jobs, that terrible hair loss sufferer. All his money he suffered, with his hair, and he died anyway.
Well, I don't know how much he suffered with his hair. I mean, he definitely was a hair loss sufferer, but I think Steve Jobs was too busy innovating and changing the world in which we live and giving us all the opportunities that we have right now. I'm using an Apple computer. I'm using a MacBook Pro to do this program. I have my iPhone right here. My entire life is basically Mac, and everything that I do, and everything. His innovations have changed my life and the life of everyone, at least in my world, dramatically, and of course across the world.
He was the Thomas Edison of our generation.
Microsoft, but what did you say?
He was the Thomas Edison of our generation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can I say my biggest question about Steve Jobs is he was on all his anti-rejection medication. Why did he take advantage of it and have, hair from another person put on his head? That's what I couldn't understand.
I don't know. But he had pancreatic cancer, and maybe, he wasn't that concerned about his hair, and, he was, working and dealing with his empire and his family and the stuff that he loved. And I really think that when you're at a certain point in your life, it may not be that important to you.
He could have had beautiful hair. He could have multiple donors give it to him, and his body would not have rejected it. That's one thing I find
Dude,
fascinating.
he was Steve Jobs.
So what?
Doesn't make a difference. Didn't matter. It probably bugged him for a little bit, and then he was, thinking about making the iPad.
I think a lot of it also, if you look at pictures prior to the cancer, he had a decent amount of hair.
Well, he had a decent head of hair in his younger years, but prior to the cancer, I mean, he was a pretty much a full blown Norwood. It was just he had a little bit more hair, so he had more coverage. Plus, he was heavier. Go ahead. What was that?
No, my son wanted me to shower every time I'm live on the air. It means people are listening.
One thing, Joe. A lot of people are comparing him to Edison. I think the proper comparison is to someone like Leonardo da Vinci, where he created these products and these unbelievable pieces of computers.
Yeah, and
I
these
mean,
pieces of art.
He made it look beautiful. I mean, before
Yeah.
in all honesty, before he came around, it was just a gray box.
That's exactly. I mean, he actually created the whole icon concept, and it's just what he created was just, and his being the catalyst for what was created is just, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing that what one human being was able to accomplish in this world. And obviously,
the one person who cures hair loss will put this guy to shame. I just have to say that.
Say that again.
The person who cures hair loss will make Steve Jobs look like Mickey Mouse.
No, that's not true. You're wrong about that. Absolutely not. The person who cures hair loss is going to change the world, of course. But I mean, every business, everything that we do is based on this type of technology. The military uses technology that Steve Jobs created and his team created.
Well,
wow.
Hair loss.
He dropped out.
They use computers.
I'm shocked.
Shocked about what?
I'm shocked that, I mean, all due respect to you, that this person with your hair loss would change everything. With Steve Jobs, to me, is minimal compared to this devastation that we live every day.
I disagree, Joe.
Excuse me?
I disagree, Joe.
Please elaborate about that, Johnny.
Well, with the innovation of computers and the advancements, there was been more than loss that's been researched and has been advanced. I mean, computers have done so much from, like Spencer said, our military all the way down to the simplest things in life. So I think what he did is ranks right up there in the top 5 innovations of all time.
No.
You don't?
No, because if hair loss is cured tomorrow, the United States would be in an economic recession tomorrow. We'd be a super powerhouse. The recession will be over. That's how powerful this cure would be. You agree with that, Spencer?
I don't think it would happen tomorrow, but I do think that there would be generations to come that might end up being more productive, and being able to feel more comfortable in their own skins and to follow their dreams, to be more productive and be more innovative. I agree with that, but it's not going to change the economic climate tomorrow, dude.
Really?
I love you, man, but I don't have to agree with everything you say.
No, of course not. I'm just saying, I respect your opinion. I mean, you're the king of the hair loss suffers. I respect your opinion. I just a little surprised, by that comment.
I feel so disappointed when I disappoint you. I feel so upset when I disappoint you, Joe.
I mean, most people would be able to work, have jobs, be able to function normal lives.
I agree with you,
there,
but it's not going to happen tomorrow.
You say it does.
Oh my God!
Say theoretically, a year from now, there was curing them up, which could happen. I mean, the whole world will change. It would far surpass anything that Steve Jobs could have done, in my opinion.
All right, George, what do you think about that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, the whole question, the whole argument is kind of bizarre to me. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing strikes me as kind of bizarre. I mean, you're trying to compare apples and oranges. I feel.
I agree.
You're trying to compare apples and oranges, and it's just both things are both.
I have to agree
there's
too.
There's no doubt that what Jobs has done has had an amazing impact that's rippled around the world over and over and over again. He's transformed our culture, our society, technology. Transformed our lives in an amazing way. Even though I've never owned an Apple product, I still have an immense respect for the guy, a great deal of affection. I felt very, very saddened by his passing, I mean, I felt a sense of loss that kind of surprised me because I've never even known one of his products. But the guy was just such an amazing guy, and I have so much respect for what he's done.
Dude, Apple's changed the way we listen to music. Apple has changed the way we view, our lives. iOS technology is, then all these other companies are now just catching up. I mean, what Steve Jobs has done is the fact that I'm able to care for my father the way that I can care for my father is in part, I'm being helped by Steve Jobs' innovations. I'm able to conduct business on this iPhone and on my laptop in ways before iOS technology I couldn't do before, especially from an iPad or from my phone. So I mean, this guy's touched people's lives in ways that no one could ever imagine until they really, sit back and think about it.
Well, on a personal level, he hasn't touched my life at all. Sorry.
No, because you still have a rotary phone.
Excuse me?
I said because you still have a rotary phone.
Well, he hasn't touched my life at all.
Joe, it has touched your life. I disagree with you, Joe. It has touched your life. It has improved your life because you wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now if it wasn't for the innovations of someone like Steve Jobs.
Right.
How is that?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't be doing
the show. You couldn't be listening to Spencer right now, man, without this technology. You wouldn't be listening to this program and getting the benefit of it.
Thank you,
Steve
George.
Jobs didn't invent the computer. Someone else did.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. He did. He was the pioneer of the personal computer.
He him and his partner, what's his name, invented the first personal computer.
Wozniak.
And then, Wozniak. And then what's his name from Microsoft, then, there's a whole controversy about that. And kind of like, I'm not going to say took the idea, but, well, how would you put it, Andrew?
He actually, Steve Jobs stole the idea from Xerox, and Microsoft took the idea from IBM. What happened with Xerox is that they allowed him to come in and take a tour of his, the Xerox facility, and they were showing him this computer, this operating system for, personal use. And it was showing a demo, and he looked at, the Apple executives that he was with, and they said, this is what we have to do. And the premise for the original Macs originated from what Xerox was doing. And even Steve Jobs said, if they never let me see this idea and Xerox had proper vision and proper direction, they could have been the biggest company in the world. They could have been the next IBM or the next Microsoft.
Right, wow. That guy is kicking stuff. The guy that said, hey, why don't you check this out?
Yeah, I mean, that's the amazing thing. But the reality is, I mean, he was the pioneer of the personal computer, and he made it something that you don't just have in your garage or in your office. He made it something that you have at home.
Right.
And that's what
Joe, you are right. Whoever does come up with the cure for hair loss is going to be on that same level.
Is going to be the wife?
Whoever does finally come up with the cure for hair loss is going to be revered on that same level.
Well, I think he'll supersede anything that Steve Jobs has possibly done, because he'll change the face of the world.
I don't even know how to deal with this anymore.
I don't either.
He'll solve the deficit problems of the United States.
No, not if it's made in the country. Not. What if it's made in somewhere in Sweden, Joe?
Or China.
It'll find its way here. It'll find its way here, Andrew. There's so many people who don't do anything, and they'll be able to hold a job. They'll be able to, everything will just change.
But
it'll be a different world.
But I would love to get a statistic on how many guys suffer from erectile dysfunction compared to hair loss, and then you could see how Viagra impacted, the economy. If you look at something like Viagra Cialis, their impact on the economy is minimal compared to.
But the thing is, I understand your point, Andy. But the thing is, no one knows what's going on in your pants that you can't get your junk up when you're going to work. Now, obviously, it plays a tremendous psychological toll that could affect productivity and all that stuff. But hair's a different story. Everyone knows what's going on. It's the first thing they see when they look at you. So there are a lot of guys who have just completely changed their career paths. Look at Joe Tronic, for instance. Look, now he's in the hair business because of his hair. But there are guys that actually have gone the other direction, who had degrees, who were professionals, who are driving a truck because they they feel more comfortable wearing a hat.
Well, I became a cop just to wear a hat. I have a master's degree in business administration.
Did you hear what Joe just said?
Well, I would.
Excuse me.
No.
Guys.
I heard it. I didn't understand.
Joe has a master's degree in business administration. He became a cop because he could wear a hat. What do you think about that?
Well, I agree with him that it's going to be a major breakthrough, but would you say it's bigger than the Salk vaccine for polio?
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about a debilitating disease. I'm not saying that, the hair loss. I mean, I agree with you. If I had a full head of hair, I would be, have my confidence back and everything. But to compare that to like the Salk vaccine or something along those lines, I don't know. I mean,
look, Joe. The bottom line is, Steve Jobs was a visionary genius who, in my world and the world of in the minds of most people, changed the world as we know it, and that's it. And we lost a tremendous innovator, a tremendous leader, a man amongst men who is, that's it. We lost him at a young age, and it's a very sad situation.
Spence,
yes, by the way, Joe Tronic, I am sick.
Spence, you got a caller on line 5.
All right, let's take the call.
Right, Spencer.
Who's this? You're on the
Hey,
air.
Spencer, how's it going?
Hey, High Pitch, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, I just figured I'd give a call, see how everything's going. How's your father doing?
My father's hanging in there, man. He's, he's been in the hospital for a long time, but let's hope we can get him home this week.
Well, that's encouraging news. That sounds good. I wish you the best with that.
I appreciate that, man. So
well,
what's
anyway,
going on?
the other thing is, boy, my voice really does sound. It sounds really crazy over the radio.
Why? Will you listen to yourself on the air? You listen to a replay?
It's scary.
Well, it's unique. Let's put it that way, man.
Yeah, well, there's no prank phone calls from me. That's for sure.
Well, you can play a woman or something, or like, I don't know. I like your voice, man. Don't give yourself any more crap than you need.
Well, yeah, and whatever was dealt with, and that's it. I have to make an appointment with Bob Bernstein now. I've been meaning to call his office, to get the prescription for the Finasteride. And I didn't know if I was going to be in New York. I'd love to hook up with you guys.
When are you going to New York?
I'd have to make the appointment with him to, and see what day I'm going to be in.
Well, you let us know, and I'm sure Andrew will let you into his studio because you're not coming anywhere near where I live in New York.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
That's all right.
I pitch. I'm joking. It's a joke. Just a joke. No, sure. Just let us know, and Andrew, do you want to have like Joe from Staten Island, High Pitch Rich, and whoever else we can get to some restaurant somewhere?
Why don't we do like a live show? Yeah, they all come in here and they view you doing the show from the studio.
Oh my God! Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'd be willing to do it as long as I got some dark sunglasses on.
Absolutely, we'll do it from Queens. I'll use Andrew's studio.
They don't need to be on camera. They could just sit in the back.
Okay, it's not going to be fun. Can we somehow get them like in a shadow? We can put them behind a curtain or something.
We could do that.
Would you do that? Would you do that, Joe? We put you behind the curtain and just like shine a light on you, like get the outline of your hat.
But I want to know is the GFQ Sunkast pick up their guests?
No.
Well, I'll be the guy with the Red Sox hat on.
All right, man. Well, listen, let us know when you're going to be in New York, all right?
All right, Spencer. And
All right.
anyway, I just want to say hi to everybody, and you guys take care.
All right, take care, man.
Okay.
Hey, Eric.
718-717-2200 is the phone number. I'm doing the program live from my dad's crazy apartment here on the Upper East Side of New York. I got to keep saying crazy because you guys can kind of see the reflection from the window with the lights and this insane chandelier. I don't even know what they did to this place. And, you know, this woman moves in and there's like oil paintings I never saw before that looks like it came from some flea market. I don't even know. I don't know what to do. If I wanted to get laid and cheat on Yvette, I couldn't bring anybody here. I'd have to get a hotel.
No, wait a minute. The lady that was trying to pick up Andrew, you could.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't think Spence wants
wanna
anything
say,
to do
too,
with her.
I just want to say, Andrew, that you're doing a fine, outstanding job under all these circumstances.
Thanks,
and
John.
The show's really going over really well.
I appreciate it.
Oh, no, and I appreciate it. Andrew's been
thank you,
doing a
Andrew.
great job.
It's amazing work, man. Thanks a lot for all your help.
And, you know, we're getting it out there. And, I mean, this is being shot. I'm on a laptop. I'm on a Mac Pro laptop with my my Apple headphones. And that's it. That's all I have to do. I'm doing a show. It's insane. It really is. And I have to thank Steve Jobs for this, by the way.
Oh.
Why are you anti Steve Jobs? Because he decided not to do anything about his hair before he died of pancreatic cancer?
Yeah, I did find the whole thing kind of odd, knowing he was on anti-rejection medication. Why did he take advantage of it? He could have had a full lot of hair.
Because he was fighting for his life, Joe. See, for most people, and I don't mean to get angry, you know, their lives and their families, and it's just they're able to get past the point of their hair loss when they have other things in their lives that are important, like family and, you know, and career and things like that. It still always sucks, but why didn't he just wear the best hairpiece in the world if it bothered him so much?
No, I'm saying he could have had a great hair transplant because he was on anti-rejection medication, and he
he still had enough hair to have a great hair transplant without being on anti-rejection medication. He looked like he had great donor hair, salt and pepper. It looked like maybe he was an Ord 5. It looked pretty dense.
But he was happy, though. A real full lot of hair because he was on anti-rejection medication. That should have been his priority.
But Joe, there are people out there in this world that are happy, who are balding. It's possible. It really is.
Spence, you got a caller on line 5.
All right, line 5. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Sunkast.
Sunkast, what's happening, bro?
Hey, Sunkast.
Hey, not much.
Andrew, I got a call.
I wanted to ask Joe a question, and maybe Andrew can help with this as well. Because I'm really wanting to get Joe in studio somehow, and I'm just wondering if maybe Joe could sit in Andrew's living room and just kind of do the show from there. He wouldn't necessarily have to be on camera then.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's brilliant. Like he can have his back towards the studio.
Yeah, I mean, we could set up a microphone or something from the studio because it's right across from each other. So.
Oh, so you know what we could do? Joe could just get a mic. Yeah, that's a great idea. Joe could get a mic, and Joe could just sit in there, and then we'll maybe have like a shadowed image of him pull up on the screen. It just has to be a picture, and he won't ever be on camera.
That's so funny and sick and crazy and all at the same time. But that's cool.
Joe, would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if I'd be able to travel there because that's the problem. I'm unable to travel. That's part of the problem.
Now, why are you unable to travel? What is it that prohibits you from traveling, Joe?
Well, I really don't drive a car, and it's very hard for me to get around.
Go to Penn Station and take the Long Island Railroad.
To where?
The Bayside, and I'll pick you up. It's right down the block.
The Long Island Railroad goes to Bayside? I never heard of that.
Yeah, right on Bell Boulevard.
The Long Island Railroad goes to Bayside.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Of course, that's city of New York. Would that be a subway?
No, we don't have the subway here.
Either along Bayside is along railroad stop. I didn't know that.
There's LIRR stops all across the city.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it goes to.
So clueless sometimes.
Joe, why don't you take a cab? I'll tell you what, I'll pay for it.
No, you couldn't afford that, Spencer. I would want you to pay for it. You have enough bills with your father. I'm sure you can't afford the cab.
I'll somehow I'll crack open my piggy bank. I'll do something. I'll figure it out.
We'll have an offering, a GFQ offering.
Yeah, we'll do like
I
a
think
silent
we would all
auction
like
for
to
Joe's
see,
hat.
Joe somehow in Andrew's house and on the air.
Yeah, we could definitely figure something out.
Would that be a big draw, you think?
Huge draw.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Possibly
that's all we say every week is like, we want to have you in studio. Everybody in the chat room wants you in studio in some way, and we understand that you don't want to be on camera, and we want to accommodate that somehow.
Well, Sunkast,
You keep saying you want to hook
studio
up with
too?
Spencer and Andrew in some way. This is a perfect opportunity.
Do you work in the studio too, Sunkast?
Hey, how about I just have Joe put on a fedora, some dark sunglasses, and a fake mustache or something? What about that? I'm serious. I mean, would you be comfortable with that, Joe?
Or a fez.
Fez. That was even better, a fez. Put on a fez and some dark sunglasses and a fake mustache, and you can just make the scene, man, and nobody will know who you are.
Well, Spencer knows who I am.
But you don't worry about Spencer.
I'm in the Twilight Zone, guys. Joe, you're being offered an opportunity to hang out. We could all hang out. We could drink. We could talk. We can eat. Whatever it is. Do the show without being on the air. Would you like to do that?
I have to think about that. I would only be on like 10 minutes because I couldn't hang out that late. I have to travel back to Staten Island. I'd freak out.
Dude, I'll put you in a cab. I'll get your car service. How's that?
No, I would pay for it. I wouldn't expect you to pay for it.
Joe, life's not getting any. You're not getting any younger. Go do it. Do it.
Joe, I'll pay
Stop
for the
coming
car
up with
service,
excuses.
What time would you have to get there? Like 6? What time do you get there normally?
Hey, Joe.
You work out the details.
Do
with
this
Andrew,
for all of
right?
us sufferers.
You work out the details
For
with
all of
Andrew
us
and you
sufferers.
shrink, and then we'll see you there.
Oh. Well, I'll think about that.
To call your shrink, ask him how he feels about it. Maybe he can give you some advice on what to do.
Who?
You're a psychiatrist.
Well, actually, I saw him 2 weeks ago. I see him monthly.
Well, see if you can get a phone call and say, listen, you want to leave the house, you want to go out to Bayside, you have this show that you like to do, you like to be involved in it, but you're having, issues with your agoraphobia and your inability to travel and your fear of crowds. And that's why I was really surprised that you were upset that you didn't go to the comedy gig. Because you would have broken down there. You would have freaked out. It was packed.
No, I just would have been there for 10 minutes just to say hello and leave.
You would have had to fight the crowd to say hello to us. You would have had to find us in the front row of a comedy show. Would you have been comfortable doing that?
I'd freak out. Yeah.
I know you would freak out. So it wasn't a good situation.
Hey,
no,
Spencer.
Just to say hello.
Yeah,
George. All. You and Andrew have.
George.
Spencer, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, George.
I've got the perfect title for the show where Joe makes the scene in the studio. You remember? I told you a couple weeks ago I saw Steely Dan in concert. You remember the album The Royal Scam? The song "Ain't Never Gonna Do It Without the Fez On."
Yes, that's very funny. Now look,
That
guys,
could
I
be
know
the
we're just
title of
bullshitting,
Joe's
having
the
fun
program.
tonight, and we're kind of going off topic, and Joe is, being Joe. But, I do think it's a good opportunity, Joe. There's so many people that really appreciate your work and what you bring to the Bald Truth. Somebody made a post on Bald Truth Talk. I don't know if you saw it this week or maybe it was last week, basically thanking you for what you did, for what you do. Did you see that?
I go to BaldTruth.com several times a day. I didn't see that.
All right, I'll see if I can find the post and send it to you.
What did it say?
Well, I've told you that before, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it said, but they were thanking me and you, and people just like to listen to you, even if it's crazy. They just, maybe, people are interested in the updates that you bring to the show. They're also interested in, maybe it makes them feel better that they're not as fucked up as you are. I don't know, but whatever it is, you're doing something in your life, and you're helping people just by calling the show every week.
Well, I appreciate that, but I wish I was
absolutely
psychic days.
So getting your ass to Queens for one night, it's not the end of the world. I mean, what can possibly happen?
I don't know. I'm just petrified.
Of what? What are you scared of? You were a cop.
Well, as you know, I don't have any firearms anymore. I'm just petrified.
So what do you think is going to happen? You're going to get there, and we're going to tackle you and tie you up and take your hat off on camera. And
no, I know you would never. I know you're my friend, Spence. You would never do that to me.
Of course not.
I know Andrew's my friend. He would never do that.
We'll protect you, dude.
That's the whole. The whole point is, Joe, they're all your
I'm
friends.
afraid of the staff, though.
Dude,
I just don't know
hate
what
to break
more
the
we
news
can
to you,
do
but
to
we are the
accommodate
staff.
getting studio in some fashion.
What?
I mean, what would it take to get you to Andrew's studio and not be on camera?
I bought cannolis
Give us
last
your list
time.
of demands.
What about cannolis? If I bring cannolis, would you go?
I don't consume any carbohydrates, man. I don't eat protein.
Well, eat some
All right,
prosciutto.
this show is taking a very, excuse me, a very, very, very dark turn. It's actually starting to make me feel
more about why
uncomfortable,
Steve Jobs didn't get his hair done. Why he was on for those drugs. That's what really freaked me out.
Well, it shouldn't freak you out. That's when it all started to take a dark turn. I want to thank everybody for calling in tonight. We got 5 minutes left for the broadcast, and we had some good calls. Guys had some real questions. I'm hoping to get back into my studio the week after next. God, I can't wait to get back to Los Angeles. I hope to God that I can. You have no idea how much I miss being back in LA. And I was telling Andrew that there's no way I could live in the city again. You're born here, so you're kind of used to it. But then when you leave, sorry, and you go someplace civilized, and you come back to this place, it's insane.
I'm not trying to bum your head, but you need to make some decisions, because I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but this can go on for years. I mean, you have to figure out exactly what make some hard decisions. You know what I'm saying?
What's going to go on for years? The hair loss?
No, about your father. This can go on for years.
Let me ask you this, Joe. Do you think I'm not out there? Do you think I'm not here knowing and realizing I have to make decisions?
I know. I'm just saying. I feel for you. That's the point I'm trying to make, Spence. I feel for you.
Well, I appreciate it.
Look, that's why in California.
This is the decision. I will keep my father in this apartment for as long as I can. If I cannot keep him in this apartment, and if for some reason his wife, his girlfriend, doesn't want to be around anymore, then I'm going to have to bring him out to California and make sure that he is in a place. What is that, man?
That's you.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a facetious.
That's so fucked up.
I meant it from my heart. I just feel for you that you're in this position. I feel terrible.
That, but what I will find some place that he would be comfortable in, close to my home, with round-the-clock care, both whatever we can get from the VA and also private. And I would, take him out to lunch every day or do whatever I have to do to give him some sort of a life. I don't want that to happen. I'd want him to be with his woman, so he has that emotional attachment. His kid can't do that for him. But whatever it is, I'll deal with it. It is what it is.
It's toll on you, Spencer. I can see that. I really feel sorry for you, man. I really do.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Man. I really feel sorry for you. It's just I can see it's draining you, and I just feel bad for you, man.
Well, listen, that's what I'm a man, and I have to rise to the occasion. That's what we do. You can't let shit like this break you down, man.
Well, let me just say one thing quick. You're a special son, man. Of course, another son wouldn't care, man.
I don't know if they wouldn't care, but
there are people.
I don't know if they would come and take a month out of their life to spend time with their father. But
your father, you be from traveling the other side of the country to be your father. A lot of people wouldn't do that, Spencer.
Well, they might do it if their father didn't smell like Schlitz and Dentyne their entire lives, and scream at him, scream at them, and make them depressed. But it's the right thing to do. You have to be a man in life, and you have to do the right thing, and that's just the way that I always. That's the way that I am, and it's not a big deal. I'm not saying it's not stressful. It's definitely stressful.
Your father,
but it's just something you have to deal with, man.
A great guy, man. It's like you say.
I appreciate it, but more importantly, how's the hair look tonight? Not bad, right?
It looks very good.
Thanks.
Spence, the viewers want to know if they could, what's your email address so they could get in contact with you?
No, they can't. Just email me at balltruthradio@gmail.com. And guys, I'm sorry this is not our conventional shows. Jeez, I got a cough.
I just lost your video feed, man.
I just want to get some sort of a broadcast out there for you every week while I'm here in New York. And if I'm going to be here more often, depending on if I'm end up having to live here half the month eventually, Andrew's just going to have to build me a little studio.
That's what I'll do.
I'm not here though, dude. I told you I will rent a studio someplace, and I could not live here. I'd hang myself, dude. I could not live in this apartment.
Are you staying there, Spencer?
I am.
Are you staying in your dad's apartment?
It's unbelievable. It's even if it's washed, it smells old. Whatever it is, a blanket, a pillow.
My great grandmother.
Well, it's got to be tough on you.
Mobile home was like that.
What'd you say? What'd you say about a mobile home?
That's what my great grandma's mobile home smells like.
Oh, I'm sure. And for some reason, there's always pretzels in some cupboard. I mean, these people love pretzels. Old people love pretzels.
Well, Spencer, couldn't the GFQ put you up on a hotel, man? I mean, couldn't they help you out? Maybe put you up on a hotel at GFQ?
No, why would they do that?
I mean, so you'd have to be more comfortable.
No, I will. If I need to be here and say I have to split my time here, if it's a long-term situation, I'll just get an apartment. That's it. It's not a big deal.
I'd say one thing quick. What are you going through, man? Your father, your personal life, and you managed to do this show for the hair loss sufferers. That really says a lot. I want to say thank you to the millions of people who are listening now.
Man, well, you're welcome.
Thank you, Andrew and Spencer. Thank you. I speak for everyone.
Well, I appreciate that. And I just want to let everyone know that we will be getting information out to you guys on trichoscience, on histogen. Sorry, guys, I'm really sick. On more in-depth stuff on A-cell in the coming weeks. Maybe I'll be able to get something up this week. I'm waiting for a presentation to be sent to my Dropbox. I should get it maybe tomorrow, and then we can put it up online, talk about it on next week's show. And if I'm here, which I think I will be, there's a possibility I'll be doing the show from the GFQ network in Queens. So it's probably going to sound a lot better. It's not going to be audio coming from my headset, and it's not going to be coming out of my laptop. But I want to thank everyone for hanging out, joining us tonight, as usual. I want to thank Johnny Ohio and George from Mobile, and, of course, Joe from Staten Island, and High Pitch Rich for calling in, and everyone else who called in tonight who I may be forgetting. It's great to see Entertainment Executive back in the room. Destin is in the room. Joe Tronic stopped by. Red Husky, the Suffer is in there, of course. Let's see. Froggy's in there. Thank you so much for hanging out. And look, you know, it is what it is. Hair loss affects 2/3 of us by the age of 35. I know how much it affected my life and still does, but I've also learned that there's life after hair loss. There's more to life than having to allow hair loss to ruin your life. So if you're uncomfortable in your own skin, if you're uncomfortable with your hair loss, do something about it. Do something about it. Figure out a way that is going to make you feel good about yourself, whether it's a transplant, whether it's a hairpiece, whether you get on medication early on, give it a shot. Website's thebaldtruth.com, IHRS.org for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. And, of course, for any women out there that are dealing with hair loss, please check out womenshairlossproject.com. Until next week, be strong and God bless.
All of my guests today, they did a swell job in showing us how easy it is so that we can really do it. If I can do it, they can do it, you can do it. Bye-bye for now.